Once again, good evening, everyone. We will begin our January the 12th, 2022 Education Committee meeting. And our agenda will be placed in the chat. Our agenda this evening is very short, but meaty. So we will begin. So thank you everyone for logging on and your participation. And at this point, I will turn it over to Dr. B. Coates, who will be covering the strategic plan focus for 2025.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, the entire cabinet will have a opportunity to share information in relationship to our strategic plan. I am going to ask that the link to the strategic plan, if it could be placed into the chat while I'm presenting, and if not, I can do it. Just let me know. Mary, do you have that to place it into the chat? If not, I can do that before we
I'm going to grab the link right now.
Okay. I'm sorry, Josh. I apologize.
No problem.
So you should see on your screen the William Penn School District Education Committee meeting, January the 12th, 2022. And there's several things. Ms. Henry has already called us to order, and this is our strategic plan. Tonight, we're going to start with an overview and a background. We will be highlighting some goals and action strategies. The purpose of this update is really to give the board an update as to where we are to date. When the plan was approved, you may recall that I had indicated that we would give to the board an update every 6 months. So this will be our first update to the board. And then we will have takeaways and next steps after the update. All right, so I'm going to first start with some key dates. If you will recall, we began this process in January of 2011, and it took us to April the 26th when the board actually approved the Focus Forward strategic plan. So you'll see on the screen the dates and the actual actions that occurred between January the 11th and April the 26th. The plan included 3 areas, or 3 priorities, if you will. The first one is academic excellence. And this is where our main focus here is to make sure that we are providing students with the opportunity to not only grow, but to be proficient in all things academics, if you will. Our second priority deals with cohesiveness. This is where we as a district are wanting to partner not only with organizations within our communities, but with families as well, to make sure that we collectively create opportunities for our students to be successful. And then our third and last priority is efficiency, effectiveness, and equity. And here we, in this priority, we want to make sure that we are being transparent as well with all of our activities from a financial standpoint, and making sure that we're being resourceful with the use of our resources that are being provided for us, and make sure that we're supporting our students through the use of those resources. So I just wanted to highlight the 3 priorities that we have in our strategic plan. And now for the status. You may recall that in the strategic plan, we have various goals and various strategies within the 3 priority areas. So there are a total of 12 goals and 25 action strategies that we are working toward achieving by 2025. Within academic excellence, there are 3 goals, and then we have various action strategies underneath of those goals to ensure that we reach the goals. Within cohesiveness, there are 5 goals and 12 action strategies. And then within efficiency, effectiveness, and equity, there are 4 goals and 8 action strategies. Another way of looking at our goals is we wanted to see the number of goals and action strategies we have by year. So we wanted to make sure that we put a time to achieve each one of the goals that we had. So that's part of our efforts to make sure that our goals are SMART. So if you look at the first priority area, which is academic excellence, listed here beside number 1, in 2022, there's one main goal that we have, and then the 2 remaining goals are in 2025. Within cohesiveness, which is the second priority area, there are 3 goals that we have in 2022, 1 in 2023, and 1 in 2024, for a total of 5. And then within efficiency, effectiveness, and equity, I'm sorry. Trying to get back to my presentation. Let me stop share for a moment. All right, I apologize. In efficiency, effectiveness, and equity, there are 2 goals in 2022, and there are 2 goals in 2023. There are no goals in 2024 and none in 2025, for a total of 4. So tonight, our focus is going to be on highlighting our efforts to achieve the goals in 2022 for this particular school year. Now, when we talk about our progress, where we are, there are some goals, obviously, that we have finished or may have finished. There are some that are in progress, and there are some that we have not actually started because of the time in which the goal is actually to be completed. So this provides you with an overview of where we are with goals. This does not take into account the actual year. This is an overall view of where we are with all of our goals. So you can see in some areas, again, we have goals that are in progress, some that have not been started, and we have 1 goal in cohesiveness that has been completed. When we look at our goals for 2022, the ones that we need to complete, the one in academics, in academic excellence, is in progress. There are 3 within cohesiveness that are finished. There are 2 that are in progress. And within efficiency, effectiveness, and equity, we have 1 that's finished, 2 that are in progress, and 1 that has not started. So as we continue to look at our goals and our strategies, now we're going to actually get into a status overview. And this is where each one of our cabinet members will be able to provide us with more details as it relates to where we are to date. And we're going to first start with academic excellence. And I'm going to now turn it over to Tyra Brown.
Good evening. Thank you, Dr. B. Coates. In order to begin our work in academic excellence, we're going to use a driven by data methodology to support our efforts. I would like to point out that we have not begun our work in social studies research to find a new curriculum or new curriculum items to support our work in social studies to date. 30% represents the point increase for the number of students who are proficient on the PSA and the Keystone exams by March 2025. Our stakeholders who will be supporting this work represents the Office of each stakeholder listed here, represents the Office of Academic Services, our progress to date. We are continuing our work in the common planning time process. Our instructional or intellectual prep process continues to support our instructional framework, and more specifically, our math and English language arts instructional blocks. All the work that we're doing, our coaching and our feedback, is student-centered, so we are providing student-centered coaching. This picture is a representation of our partnership with our teachers and our academic teams within our buildings, which are led by our principals and our instructional facilitators. As part of implementing a driven by data methodology, we will continue our work in the common planning area by intentionally analyzing our data. We're using this work to guide our interventions for our students, and we want to create meaningful progress monitoring. The data analysis intervention timeline shows you our progression for this particular quarter for January 10th through 25th with our administering of our diagnostics and our work of implementing our data analysis through our intervention cycle through our instructional rounds are listed on the timeline in front of you. We have begun a pilot program to support progress monitoring. We have 4 pilot schools. We have a team of teachers and facilitators leading this work for us. And before you see a timeline from beginning to where we want to be by May 2022.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. We're now going to transition to the next goal that is scheduled to be completed in the 2022 year. And Ms. Bookman will now lead us through where we are to date with this particular goal.
Thank you, Dr. B. Coates. Good evening, everyone. A goal under cohesiveness is to enhance internal communication efforts within and between schools and staff. An action strategy for internal communication is to review our communication processes and tools. And to accomplish this, we will establish a team to develop a survey of communication processes and tools and evaluate that data. The team will research potential tools and develop district-wide communication processes and tools. We have established a timeline for this strategy. You can see the dates that we plan to establish the team, develop and distribute a survey to employees, examine the data collected, research best practices and tools, and evaluate the research findings in April and May. Another action strategy under internal communications is to develop a transition to success initiative. This is to support students as they move from elementary to high school. I'm collaborating with Ms. Tyra Brown, Assistant Superintendent, to lead a team to develop the transition to success. The team will also include a special education administrator, and at each school level, a principal, guidance counselor, teacher, and parent.
Thank you very much, Pam. The next area that we have under cohesiveness is for student services, and Danielle Seward is going to walk us through this area.
Thank you, Dr. B. Coates, and good evening, everyone. So I'll be talking about our goal to assess our district's responsiveness to school culture, student engagement, and family engagement within our community. So this individual project actually has many pieces that impact other goals within the strategic plan. So the following slides, I will be referencing some of the work of my colleagues. So we started this project by contracting with Panorama education software to create surveys, and for Panorama intervention platform to support MTSS data collection, which Ms. Brown spoke about earlier. We'll be preparing surveys for students, family and community, staff through the Panorama education system. I'll be doing that in collaboration with the HR department for our staffing survey. We thus far have conducted this meeting with our survey committee. And in the next slide, you'll see our timeline. Oh, I was wrong. The next slide, you'll see the wonderful people who've been helping me with this process. These wonderful individuals within our district have been really helpful in contributing ideas around questions and the best way to administer our surveys. And here's our timeline. So this month, we have been focusing on finalizing our questions, and we will be test running our surveys in March and using the April timeframe to analyze the data, and using summer months to do course correcting to make sure that we're ready to go in the fall to administer our district-wide surveys. The other part of this project is Panorama Intervention Platform. As I said before, it supports our MTSS efforts. This portion is dedicated to data integration. This intervention platform pulls together various pieces of data from across the district, from eSchool, where we have our attendance and behavioral information, standardized test scores, and other data sources throughout the district. The team that you see before you have been instrumental in helping us identify data sources and to work directly with Panorama to ensure that there is a seamless flow of information that is operating correctly nightly. And our timeline, I'm happy to report that we did complete our December data integration, and now it is in the hands of our contractor, Panorama, to customize our system, which they will turn over to us in April for testing. And then we will be focusing on our professional development plan with targeted staff and in preparation for the next year.
Thank you very much, Danielle. Next, we have another goal under cohesiveness that's contained or led within the superintendent's office. And Ms. Bookman is going to walk us through where we are with the specific goal as well.
Thank you, Dr. B. Coates. Another goal under cohesiveness is to review external communication efforts and pursue community partnerships. An action strategy under external communications is developing a consistent marketing and communication strategy. Some of the steps already taken in that area include the establishment of a district brand that is to be used on all district materials, a communication protocol that has been developed to ensure all stakeholders are included in district communications. Board meetings and other district level meetings are advertised on the district website and social media platforms in a consistent manner. And in progress is the development of a monthly electronic communication to all stakeholders. Our timeline for this strategy is to establish a team in February, develop a survey to assess our external communication tools in March, develop a communication survey for external stakeholders in April. In May, review the data collected through the external survey and the special services department survey, and to draft a communications plan in May and June.
Thank you, Pam. Now for the last priority area under efficiency, effectiveness, and equity, we're going to start with human resources, and Katie Schlesinger is going to take us through this area. Katie?
Yep, thank you, Dr. B. Coates. Last, certainly not least, we have efficiency, effectiveness, and equity, and HR is working to develop a recruitment, retention, and compensation initiative to help attract and retain high quality and diverse staff here at William Penn School District. If you could go to the, thank you. So before diving into the three strategies that HR is focusing on, I wanted to spend just a minute talking about some of the work my team has been leading and our priorities since I started my role here in March. So we've been really focused on developing hiring and onboarding systems and processes to support a district-wide reorganization, hiring 4 principals and an assistant principal, as well as staffing our 11 schools with teachers and support staff, and staffing our central office while in the midst of the ongoing global pandemic, which has required significantly more time and resources than a typical school year. We've also developed HR structures to track legally mandated clearances, as well as building systems to increase our efficiency and our effectiveness in our HR, payroll, and time and attendance systems, which has included developing and training hiring managers on progressive discipline processes, developing an investigation process, and developing a plan for improving our time and attendance process in collaboration with our business office. So wanted to give that context as I provide an update on the 3 strategies. So this first one around building the personalized professional learning pathway for teachers, principals, and support staff. We are going to push this goal back to the 23-24 school year in order to prioritize strategies 2 and 3, as well as continuing to build out and refine those foundational systems that I just spoke about to support our effectiveness with recruitment, onboarding, hiring, staffing, evaluation, and retention. For strategy 2, we're going to partner with businesses, colleges, and universities to help retain and recruit highly qualified candidates. So thus far, we have been focused on cultivating relationships with universities to place student teachers, interns, and practicum completers in our schools in hopes that these folks will be interested in full-time positions here at William Penn once they're done with their training. So far we've identified the current partnerships that exist in our schools, and then we've also had meetings with St. Joe's, Western Governors, and Drexel. On the next slide, you can see a timeline of our next steps. So we are going to be facilitating meetings with Penn, Temple, and LaSalle. And then in February, we'll be developing a list of HBCUs and HSIs, historically Black colleges and universities, and Hispanic serving institutions, and conduct some initial outreach to a few from each category. We'll then schedule and have those initial meetings with folks, and then all the while be continuing to work on finalizing our process for assigning teachers, student teachers, interns, and practicum completers, as well as building in strategies and touch points for us to keep in touch with them and keep them posted on what opportunities we will have available at William Penn. And then for my final strategy, strategy 3, as Danielle already spoke a little bit about, we are going to be creating an anonymous employee culture and engagement survey that we'll give once per year. So far I've been collaborating with Danielle as part of the steering committee meeting. We determined that this survey should be a part of our broader district climate and culture survey. And then I'll be working with Danielle to create this one survey to go out in March. One note, it's the timeline of next steps for Danielle's slide is on slide 33. So I'll update that on this slide here. Thank you very much, Dr. B. Coates.
All right, and now we're going to transition to our business office, which also has a goal under efficiency, effectiveness, and equity. And Jeff, you can take it away.
No, thank you very much, Dr. B. Coates. So we were charged with developing a budget process that would allocate financial and personnel resources in an equitable manner. And another charge in our goal was to ultimately enhance the support services that are provided to the schools and provide and overall instructional support by the beginning of the 22-23 school year. And the names you see there, I'm not going to run through them, but it was a collaborative effort from all these offices involved. And these offices involved actually worked in the preparation, implementation, rollout, and currently we're working on the evaluation process of our goals. So you'll see a lot of this effort, as I stated before, is a collaborative effort. We started early in last March in the spring, and we worked through the spring and to develop a budget process. So in that process, one of the goals that we set was to achieve, as we stated earlier, the goal of equity, efficiency, and effectiveness. So equity, as I stated earlier, was that we would try to have the numbers of our population drive where we allocate our resources. And when I say resources, I mean financially as well as personnel in that area also. And efficiency, we wanted to go over the where, the why, the how of how this process worked. So in our process, we actually went through and we explained to the stakeholders, being the principals and the department heads, how this would affect your goals and how this would affect our instructional program going forward. And effectiveness, the principals were able to align their budgets and be able to create something that they would be responsible for, and that this would be the goals that they set going forward. So as you can see, in mid to late spring, we went through the process, the department, we laid out the process to the principals, and then in turn, the principals came back and presented budgets to the superintendent, to the cabinet for our evaluation and collaboration that will help develop the budget for the 21-22 budget that we're currently in. So what you'll see right now is that currently in this process here, we're in the evaluation stage. So right now we're evaluating what happened last year. Was it equitable? Did we hit all our targets of efficiency and effectiveness? Thank you. So I apologize. So right now we're in our process of evaluation. We're also seeking feedback. We're going to do our analysis in that component, and then we're going to implement the change, and that will all be in place to enhance our process for the 22-23 when the new budget comes up. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Jeff. So really, where are we with our strategic plan? I'm going to stop the presentation right now. I think overall we are in a good place in terms of progress to date. A lot of things are going on that may not always be seen, but we are working behind the scenes for sure to get it done. We are including individuals to help us move these efforts forward. And in the event that we see something that we may have to defer or modify, we will definitely inform the board accordingly. And so we wanted to stop here because we felt as though we shared a lot of information about the strategic plan and give the opportunity for individuals to ask any questions that they may have, and then we will transition to our next item. So board members, does anyone have any questions before we go to the next item?
I don't see any.
Okay. And did we want to see if there were any participants, Ms. Cook Henry?
At this
On this
time,
item?
I would, but I can't see from this end.
Okay, I don't see anyone with their hand raised. In the attendee section, hold on one second, I'm just looking again. All right, so since I don't see any, we will move on to our next item. And I believe that's Ms. Seward. You're muted, Danielle?
Yes, it is. All right,
Okay.
I'm gonna share my screen now. Okay, can I get a thumbs up? We good? Can you see it?
You're good.
All righty, great. Okay, well, we're gonna talk about the health and safety plan of our district briefly. Okay, come on. Okay, so as everybody knows, COVID, the gift that keeps on giving, brought us a little Christmas gift in the form of updated guidance on December 27th from the CDC. And then followed by January 5th, CHOP Policy Lab published guidance for in-person education in K-12 education settings. And so seeing that we had new guidance and new updates, it became necessary to go back to our health and safety plan to make sure that we are aligned and that we are held accountable for whatever guidance we follow is reflective in our plan. So I will briefly click on it so that you can see the changes that have, so far, this plan was originally adopted in June of 2021, revised in August of 2021. And so this is the latest revision timeframe. Here you'll see in blue lettering, and I'm sorry if this is small, I'll try to make it a little bit bigger. There you go. You'll see in blue type any language that was added. And you'll see throughout the document, and I'm just going to quickly go through. You'll see that I added links here that are highlighted. You'll see added language here where I really wanted to emphasize, although there is no social distancing mandate currently in place, it is still a best practice for us to do social distancing so that we're reducing the likelihood of spreading the virus. Moving forward, there's some language that I did remove as our practices and our guidance have changed the way we do the work that we do around keeping everyone safe and implementing mitigating strategies through COVID because of COVID. So that is kind of a quick, oh, I didn't mean to stop the share. I'm so sorry. Hold on one second, bringing you back. Okay. So Like I said before, the overview of the changes include just adding language that make sure that we mention all of our sources of guidance in encouraging social distancing and to minimize the likelihood of spreading the virus. And adding our district's cleaning schedule, because I thought it was important that people see that there is a timely cleaning schedule that happens daily. As we know that our numbers have been going up, we have been staying diligent about our cleaning process. And then again, updates on our language to reflect current practices. So that's it. I'm gonna stop my share. I'm available if there are any questions.
I see none on this end, and maybe there will be some that are jolted. But I would just, before we go into a formal discussion of anything else that might be of interest at this point for those in attendance, is I've been a part of strategic plans all of my professional life. And I have put many on shelves, unfortunately. You go through the process, you do all of the work, and many of them sit on the shelf. But what I wanted to share this evening is the 6 months in, the attention to details that you all shared with us to keep us abreast of where each of the targeted points are for the strategic plan. So I want to thank you for your follow through, the due diligence. Your leadership in this endeavor is duly noted, in the team that is supporting the efforts. I'm very grateful for the fact that it's not on a shelf and it's very present, and that the way that you presented it, it gives us the details that we need to see the updated status. So thank you.
Let's go, Camry. There is a hand raised in the attendees.
Hi, my name is Jennifer, and I have a son who is in kindergarten at Ardmore. And I was just wanted to see if you had any information on kind of like how are the schools actually doing now with COVID? I know, we were all virtual last week. I'm just interested to hear kind of how the staff is making out and how things are going. And then also just had a question about testing. Are you guys doing any kind of testing for the students, I guess, and teachers? I wasn't sure what that was looking like.
So in terms of the testing, we are currently testing our students if they exhibit any symptoms. So it's on an as needed basis right now. Currently nationwide, there has been a dramatic reduction in the amount of tests that are available right now. So we are trying to focus our testing on our students and staff who exhibit any symptoms. But we are hopeful that we will be getting a new shipment very, very soon.
And I believe the other question that was asked was about the numbers. We are fortunate in the sense that we have not, I'll say, reached the threshold of having to close an entire school as a result of COVID. And so our goal is to continue to encourage people, one, to get vaccinated if they choose to do so. And also we encourage you to get the booster if you're at that stage. And obviously we are encouraging individuals to follow all safety protocols. And what we do on our side is make sure that we mitigate the spread as much as we possibly can. Ms. Seward did indicate or mentioned in her presentation something regarding social distancing. While that is not a requirement, in most instances, unfortunately, we are not a district that can do that due to the limitations we have within our buildings and the number of students that we are supporting, but we are promoting the other mitigation strategies. So those are, I would say that's where we are as it relates to the overall school. And if you had other specific questions about Ardmore, I am sure that Ms. Birch, the principal of the school, would be more than happy to address those with you. But I hope that we've answered your questions tonight.
You have, thank you.
Sure, you're
Thank-
welcome.
Thank you for your question.
We have another hand up, Ms. Afia Lewis.
Ms. Lewis?
Okay, let's try this again. Good evening, everyone. There
Good
is
evening.
one specific, good evening. There's one specific thing that I would like to state. So I had the opportunity to take some time to watch my superintendent online. I want to tell you, Dr. B. Coates, in public, how thankful and how grateful we are to have you come to our district, to our community, and take over what is a tremendous, I don't even think that word tremendous is appropriate. It's more than that. A tremendous undertaking for this community, for this school district, and everything that you represent. Your eloquence, your everything that you showed, your decorum, everything that you showed, I'm thankful for you. It made me proud. It made my mama proud because I did watch it with my mama. And it made us all very proud and thankful that you are here representing us. And I needed you to know this in public because this is not easy, okay? And I am thankful for all of you, all of us in this work, doing this work. It is a lot, okay? And I just want to thank you all for everything. Thank you, Dr. B. Coates. And thank you all leadership for everything that you are doing. We are working very, very hard. And this is doesn't seem to be getting any easier, but we are working very hard. So I want to thank you all as well. But Dr. B. Coates, you did exceptional. So thank you again. And I'm sorry you had to spend the last 2 to 3 weeks doing this. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis, for those comments.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lewis. I greatly appreciate your comments.
Are there additional hands raised?
I do not see any additional hand raised, Ms. Cook-Henry.
So seeing none, then this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Everyone
you.
have a good night. Take care.
Good night.
Good night.
Good evening.